All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle a huge problem for anyone looking at stock charts. How in the world do you actually see the trend? We're going to look at a tool designed to bring a little bit of clarity to all that chaos. I mean, we've all been there, right? It's one of the most frustrating things when you're starting out. You think you've made the perfect move, and then bam, the market just does the exact opposite. You know, this usually happens for one simple reason. It's just really tough to get a clear read on which way the market is actually heading.
But what if you had a simple visual guide right on your chart to help you stay on the right side of that trend? Well, that is exactly what we're going to explore today. It's called the Supertrend Indicator, created by Olivier Saban, and it was designed to cut through all that noise and solve this exact problem.
So, what is this thing really? Let's break down what it is, and maybe more importantly, what it's trying to tell you when you see it on your screen.
Okay, in the simplest way I can put it, just think of the Supertrend as a smart line that's drawn right on top of your price chart. It's not in some separate little box below, it's right there in the action. And its only job is to show you the market's current direction using a super simple visual cue. It changes color.
And this is pretty much the whole shebang right here. It really just boils down to two simple states. If the line is green and it's sitting below the price, that's your bullish signal. Think of it like green means go. But if it flips to red and moves above the price, well, that's your bearish warning sign. That's it. Just remember two things, color and position.
Now, this line isn't just drawn randomly. There's some real math behind it. It's calculated using something called the average true range, or ATR, which is basically just a fancy way to measure how volatile a market is. And then it uses a multiplier. But here's the best part. You do not need to worry about any of that math. Your trading platform does all the heavy lifting for you. Your job is just to read the final result.
Okay, so the theory is cool, but how do we actually use this thing to make a decision? Let's get into the practical side of it. So for a beginner, there are two main ways to use this. First, it's just for simple trend identification. Is the line green? The trend is probably up. Is it red? Trend's likely down. Easy. Second, and this is a really powerful feature, you can use the line as a dynamic stop loss. A stop loss is just your safety net, right? It's your exit plan. So if you're in a trade and the price suddenly drops and touches that green line, that's your signal that the trend might be reversing and it could be time to get out and protect your money. All right, let's talk about what is, without a doubt, the most important part of this entire discussion. You know, any tool can be misused, and the Supertrend is absolutely no exception. So let's cover the critical rules for using it the right way. You absolutely have to understand this. The Supertrend is a lagging indicator. What does that mean? It doesn't predict the future, it only confirms what's already started happening. The rearview mirror analogy you see here is perfect. It shows you exactly where you've been, not where you're about to go.
And that brings us to the indicator's biggest weakness. It's kryptonite. When a stock is in a strong, clear trend, up or down, the Supertrend is amazing. But when the market is just going sideways, all choppy and directionless, the indicator can give you a ton of false signals. Traders call these whipsaws, and if you act on every one of those little red-green flickers, it's a fast track to a bunch of small, really frustrating losses. So, this leads us to the golden rule. No single indicator, ever, should be treated as a command to buy or sell. Think of it as a suggestion, a piece of the puzzle. The smartest traders always look for confirmation from another tool. Maybe they'll check the trading volume, or look at another indicator like the RSI, before they risk their money.
All right, enough theory. Let's make this real. We're going to pull up a chart of Fauji Fertilizer, or FFC, from the Pakistan Stock Exchange, and we're going to see how all of this actually works in the wild. Okay, take a look at this period on the FFC chart. See that? The Supertrend line is a solid green, and it's just sitting there neatly below all the price action. For anyone looking at this, it was a crystal clear, unambiguous signal that the stock was in a healthy uptrend. The market was basically shouting, hey, the buyers are in charge here.
Now watch what happens right here. See how the price pulls back and slices right through that green line? The second it does that, bam, the indicator flips from green to red and jumps up above the price. That is your exit signal. If you're holding the stock, that was your data-driven cue to sell and lock in the profits you made on the way up.
And now look at this messy section over here. See how the line is just flickering back and forth between green and red while the price isn't really going anywhere? This is that sideways market trap we were just talking about. This is the indicator's blind spot, and it's the perfect example of why you can't just blindly follow its signals without getting a second opinion from another source.
So, after going through the theory and a real-world example, what are the absolute must-remember points to take away from all this? Let's put together a quick checklist.
Here it is, your Supertrend cheat sheet. First, and this is the most important one, never use it by itself. Number 2, green line below the price means a bullish trend. Red line above the price, bearish trend. Remember to use that line as your dynamic or trailing stop loss. And finally, if the market just looks choppy and directionless, be super cautious about the signals it's giving you.
So, we've seen the Supertrend is a really fantastic tool for seeing the trend, but we also know it can't be a solo act. It needs a partner for confirmation. So that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you know how to use it, what are you going to combine it with? Thanks for watching.